Welcome to the Four Seasons Podcast, brought to you by B&H Wealth Strategies, serving Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia since 1966. Here, we guide you through the ever-changing seasons of your financial journey, offering insights to help you grow, protect, and enjoy your wealth. Ready to turn your financial dreams into reality? Dare to dream. And now, here's your host, President of B&H Wealth Strategies, Jeff Bingham.
"60 years in business brings wisdom, perspective, and a front row seat to how families, finances, and the world around us evolve. Welcome back, everybody. Skip Monty, co-host / producer, back in the studio with President of B&H Wealth Strategies, Jeff Bingham. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going great, Skip. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing fine, and I'm excited. We're still talking about the 60th year milestone with B&H, and it looks like we're normally in your dad's the office in Kingsport, but today it looks like we're in a different spot.
Yeah, we are. Like I said, normally we're set up and doing this from the Robert L. Bingham conference room there in Kingsport. I'm actually down here in Oak Ridge, where my wife and I have a home down here. Whole other story of a commute for a blind man back and forth for 110 miles door to door. But that's for another day. But yeah, this is my home office down here, where it is set up to work and operate just like my office is in Kingsport. So it's very familiar. The screens and the various things and the tools that I need to navigate with my visual challenges that I have. And like I said, we've been talking about doing one here for, gosh, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, I guess. And finally, with a few difficulties behind the scenes that we won't mention, other than that, today we're here and we're going to do this thing. So I'm excited about it. Every day that I can get a little more independent with my, with my way of life, if you will, with not being able to see, is just another blessing from God. So this is a blessing.
Amen, brother. Well, Jeff, another blessing, as I mentioned earlier, B&H is celebrating the 60-year milestone this year, and it naturally brings up conversations about the future. So what generational changes do you foresee as we look ahead to the next era of B&H Wealth Strategies? I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, great question, and one that that has been top of mind with a lot of, maybe all of my clients, but many of them, kind of verbalizing it. Probably, I would say, probably as much as probably for the last decade or so. And I can say, a decade ago, let's say 2016, I didn't have a great answer. I had an answer, but it wasn't a great answer. And so, fast forward to 4 or 5 years ago, uh, when Jake, just my son Jake, came into the business and decided this is what he wanted, to do. Wasn't Dad's decision. It was his decision to come on board and kind of pour himself into it. There's where the real answer was what the next generation, where do we go from here? Like I said, I sit in the middle of this as a second generation, owner, but really, as you'll hear me say, and I have on air, we're more stewards of this, right? We're just sojourners on through this business and on earth. Our true home is, and I truly believe this as a believer, is in heaven. But this is what I do while I'm here on earth. This is what God has given me, the skill set and the ability to do. And so I sit in this seat trying to help me preserve wealth, create wealth, and also pass wealth along, and to do as much as I can to glorify God in everything that I do. Uh, and these are things I think that were really ingrained in me, but not as conscious as they are now. From my dad, all those years ago, 60 years ago, when this business started. Obviously, when I was born 6 years prior to that. Excuse me, but we've always had that, and so that's the he passed it to the next generation. Me, I'm passing this now, and the wisdom and the knowledge, and Jake is getting to know my clients and working with them as he works, kind of shoulder to shoulder with me and knee to knee with my clients. And so they're getting comfortable with that. They now understand that we are, set to be around for many decades to come. As Jake likes to say, he plans on being around, another 60 years. He's 30, so we'll be 90. He might need a little help somewhere, in the next 60 years. Unfortunately, I don't think that I'll make it, but that long. But I'm excited about what the next year or the next 3 years, 5 years, and so on. As long as I can be around, and kind of doing this thing, I'm so excited about it because for the first time uh, in a long time, we were talking about actually growing this business. And you and I have talked a little bit about this, off camera. And Jake is excited about doing that. And and I don't know exactly what that means when I say to grow it because we're working on it. We're kind of building, excuse me, the scaffolding to be able to do that because you've got to have the right process. You got to have the right infrastructure and the kind of the infrastructure, if you will, to be able to handle kind of growing. But that's what we look to do because not only, do we want to, continue to be, a very important wealth advisory business in our community, and reaching into Southwest Virginia, Western North Carolina, even into Georgia. I've got clients all over the country, but, primarily, we're in East Tennessee, Southwest Virginia. But as we continue to try to grow that footprint from a wealth advisory perspective, it's also a bit of a ministry and a calling to spread God's word because I'm trying to glorify the Lord in everything that we do. We're a wealth-based, financial advisory firm now. My son has completely not just bought into that, but he believes in that. That's a better term to put that. And we're doing something. And I think we should do some podcasts on this in the future, where we're offering biblically responsibly investing, which is a concept and something that most people aren't familiar with out there. But it's a way to align your values, your morals, your biblical lens of the world with your investment strategy. The companies that you own, trying to align those things. So in everything that you do, you're trying to take it to the highest level that you can and glorify God. So that's us moving to the next generation with Jake working shoulder to shoulder with me, bringing technologies and innovation that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do, as a baby boomer at 66 years old now, and with very limited eyesight, I would never be able to do. And he's very comfortable with doing those things. I think I mentioned earlier the tech guy that we work with, which is also just an amazing gentleman, Jason Kaczynski. I'll give him a plug with Digital Overwatch, but works very closely with us and with Jake. He's mentioned to me many times that as he gives Jake, the and brings him in and embracing technology, that Jake's like a duck to water. He just understands it. It really is something that he's quite good at. I'm hoping not to lose him uh, completely to the technology side of it, so that he'll stay engaged, on the advisory side. And I say that only with my tongue, half in my cheek, because he is really good at it. He's also a very, very good, solid advisor and has an incredible knowledge of this business at a young age, but also a young age relative to how long he's been, actually doing this, over the last, 4 or 5 years, really engaged in. And it's a complicated business, and I've been at this for 36 years. And there's lots of things that I still don't know, but he'll make me aware of them. Or if we don't know the answer, he's so quick to be able to find answers, and we'll verify these, as I say, but using, AI, ChatGPT or Claude or, those types of things to do it. And it's just such a AI is a scary thing, as we talked about. It's such a great companion to my team, to me individually, but to my team, not to replace anybody, but to make them better at what they do. So when we're sitting, we can spend more time in front of our clients on a face to face basis, like you and I are doing here. We do with some of the Zoom, but also in that Robert L. Bingham conference room, doing it the way we've always done it, and I think the way that we always will. So there's a little bit of an answer to that. So.
Well, speaking of technology, that was my next question was how is, and Jake, who's the next generation, how is technology influencing the way that the next generation approaches wealth management from both a client and an advisor role?
Well, and also I guess I'll speak to it on an advisor role first. You know, I what it gives us is a tool, right? I mean, an AI is a tool, and it gives us a very fast tool, to go out and acquire information where we don't know things or we need to run calculations. Man, it can do these fabulous things, and we're always very careful to check to make sure that those things are correct. I mean, as an example, real quick, I've got a client that's got a heavy concentration in an individual stock, and we want to try to begin to trim that position. So we've got large. He's got a very low cost basis and a very high gain. So capital gains taxes are out there. So we were trying to, based on his filing situation, his other income, we're trying to make a calculation of how much capital gains tax he could absorb without, or how much capital gains he could absorb without having to pay capital gains tax. We did the calculation. We came up with the number, and it was a number that, I just, I felt good about what we had done. But anyway, long story short, I reached out to a CPA friend of mine. I ran the scenario by him, and boom, it was spot on. Like the AI, and I think we ran that. I can't remember if it was Claude or Chat GBT, but either way, it doesn't matter. We ran that through, and it gave us the number almost exactly to what my CPA had confirmed. And so we make sure that we do those kind of things because, AI can, if you've ever used it, it can be lazy, and and if you challenge it, it'll tell you that it just didn't want to go do something. So that's kind of weird. But kind of like having a real employee, at times. I mean, I'm not trying to, hopefully nobody takes offense to that. I'm joking for the most part when I say that. So we're all right. I think, what we're using AI for, to kind of summarize that, what I was saying is that it's just a tool to make us better. I mean, we use it, Jake and I use it when we're doing planning, and it can help us in our planning and kind of think through things faster than we can think through them. Or otherwise would do the way we used to do research. For each of my staff members, it helps them go through documents and paperwork and compliance things, and it will check those things and make sure that we don't leave boxes unchecked, and we send things out that are incomplete. It does those kind of things. It does them beautifully. So again, you're not getting rid of anybody. You're making everybody better, as far as I'm concerned, in my office. And I think that's true with most offices, businesses that are out there. I think some will use it as an excuse to perhaps trim some staff. I get all that. It's going to be disruptive, but I think it's also going to be very creative, kind of creative disruption that is going to be out there. But I think the other question that you would ask is, what about clients? What about, folks, investors that are out there? How does it change their landscape as they come to talk to somebody like us, or perhaps they feel like they don't need, an advisor to come to because they've got such an enormous depository and resource of information that's out there. I would obviously make the case, I'm a little biased in this, that they still need folks like us as their wealth increases and their goals and their dreams and their aspirations have to be plugged into that. And I think we'll always do that better than AI will do. But I think they come in, when they come in to sit down with us, if they've gone through and are utilizing AI, they know a lot more. They are better educated. Now, they may not be able to identify what they're learning, perhaps in a way that pertains specifically to them, but their knowledge base has increased tremendously. So if we can then they come in with that increased knowledge and that increased capacity to go and find and continue to build on that knowledge, and they can sit down with us, and then we can go through our discovery process, if you will, which is asking where are you, where you want to go, how you want to get there, and all the things that go along with that. Then they're going to refine and define where they want to go, what types of assets and how they should be investing, how much money they should be putting, debt versus, assets, and all the kind of things from savings and investing. But it's gonna, with what they've learned from AI, they can now put themselves into that position, right? And that's with working with us. And again, I think what it can help them do is that with our wisdom and experience in doing that, and AI on their side learning and helping them ask us the right question, helping them ask better questions to us perhaps, and making sure that we're accountable. That will make us better at what we do for our clients, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't think it eliminates us. There will be some that will be able to do it, on their own with AI, and God bless them for doing it. But that's been the case for years and years without AI. There's a lot of people that do it on their own. They're out there. Some are better than others at doing it. But oftentimes what will happen, and this I think is very true, is that there'll be a moment when you either make a mistake or the risk reward becomes too great, right? And whether it be inheritance or your wealth accumulation moving towards retirement, the tax law, whatever it is, right? Something will occur, and you've got folks like us that will always be there to provide that one-on-one, kind of four seasons, again, the four seasons experience, which is no AI will ever know you as well as a human will. This is a human. We are built to have human touch. That's the way we are made. And we will not ever replace that. The day that we replace that is the day that you and I need to go home.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, Jeff, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sharing that forward-thinking insight. Would love to talk about this more, and would also love to get the next generation on the show with us so that we can get his perspective as well.
Yeah, we need to get him out of being as camera shy as he is. We're working on that. Like I said, he's doing more and more, in the meeting rooms, to have those interactions, and that's just one step at a time. Like I said, that's just a lot easier, because you can edit it, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
make me look good. I know we edit a lot of my stuff, so it always looks better when it's edited.
Not at all. Not at all. But Jeff, thanks. And hopefully we can get Jake in the next episode.
Yeah, I look forward to doing it, and we'll do it, and we'll just continue doing these things. It's a blast,
All right, man. Well, have a great rest of the day, and we'll see you next time.
All right, man. God bless everybody out there listening.
Thanks for tuning into the Four Seasons podcast, brought to you by B&H Wealth Strategies, where your financial success is our priority. Schedule your free 20-minute consultation today by calling 423-247-1152 or by visiting bhretire.com. Take the first step toward making your financial dreams come true. Until next time, remember, every season is the right season to plan for your future. Securities and registered investment advisory services offered through Silver Oak Securities, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. B&H Wealth Strategies and Silver Oak Securities, Inc. are not affiliated.